Thank you very much for joining us today. We will be starting our workshop presentation at 7 p.m. Eastern. And in the meantime, please enjoy this video about Averett University.
When the road is long, when you're feeling low, with every breath, don't forget how far you've come. When it's late at night, when you're all alone, I'll lift you up, I could be your helium. Your helium. I could be your helium. I can feel the words running through your veins. When they said your life will never be the same. Hey there, champion, bet you're gonna win this fight. And I'm here for you through good and bad, right by your side. Sometimes you can lose it all overnight, but everything's gonna be.
Averett's a special place because of the camaraderie amongst everybody. I feel like it's a lot of friendships that won't be broken throughout my life.
The road is long, when you're feeling love, with every breath, don't forget how far you've come. When it's late at night, when you're all alone, I'll lift you up, I could be your helium. When the road is long, when you're feeling love, with every breath, don't forget how far you've come. When it's late at night, when you're all alone, I'll lift you up, I could be your helium. Your helium. I could be your helium. Won't you free your mind like a parachute? Yeah, I know it's hard when you face the truth. Hey, that friend of mine, you say it feels like you're out of time, but I promise you, we'll make it out alive. Sometimes you can lose it all overnight, but everything's gonna be alright. When the road is long, when you're feeling love, with every breath, don't forget how far you've come. When it's late at night, when you're all alone, I'll lift you up, I could be your helium.
Making most of my experience at Averett, I don't think I would have had as good a time if I didn't get involved in all the organisations and sport and everything else along with it. It's also allowed me to make lifelong friends from all different areas all over the world. I couldn't ask for anything better.
When the road is long, when you're feeling low, yeah, don't forget it's darkest before the dawn. Just like a bass needs a drum, I'll lift you up, I could be your helium.
My name is Brad Johnson, Vice President of Higher Education Partnerships at Plexuss. I am honored and excited to serve as the moderator for today's event. This workshop is scheduled for 60 minutes. Our meeting will be divided into 3 informative segments. Through this workshop, we will guide you through the crucial steps that lie ahead, ensuring that you are all well prepared for a smooth transition to Averett University. To kick things off, each of our esteemed panelists will provide insight regarding essential topics related to admissions, financial aid, and what you need to get ready for fall 2024. The second part of our workshop will include a question and answer section. You'll notice on the bottom of your screen, you can click the Q&A button and ask questions. Please go ahead and type in questions, and our team will answer as many questions as we can. Additionally, Averett senior leaders, including today's speakers, We'll answer questions, and we will stay online for 10 minutes after the workshop presentation. So as questions come in, we will answer them immediately. Towards the end of our session, we will highlight a few questions for our panelists to answer verbally. Additionally, you'll hear about Averett scholarships, grants, and more, including a $1,000 Averett scholarship, a $5,000 Averett plus Plexuss scholarship. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Joining us today are 3 senior leaders from Averett University. The workshop speakers include Dr. Vanita Mitchell, Vice President of Student Engagement, Mr. Carl Bradsher, Director of Student Financial Aid, and finally, Matthew Mann, Director of Admissions. So let's go ahead and kick things off with Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell has more than 3 decades of experience in higher education, working at both large and smaller institutions. She is dedicated to helping students have a great experience, and she played as a vital role in doing so at Averett University. Dr. Mitchell, the floor is yours.
Three decades. Don't do the math on that. I've been in higher ed over 3 decades, but I've been at Averett for 3 years, just 3 years now. I'm finishing up my 3rd year, and I do not regret my decision to come here. I'm excited to be here tonight talking to you all. I'm excited that you're thinking about, or you know you're coming to Averett, or you're thinking about coming to Averett. I'm going to talk a little bit about the college experience here. We have a dynamic staff here to support your success outside the classroom, and engaging faculty that will teach you inside the classroom, excited to teach on your major and your interest. Those of us who work at schools like Averett, we work here because we like the opportunity to really get to know students individually and walk alongside you during this journey in this part of your life. The team I work with, we support the student experience outside the classroom. You saw in my bio that I know that successful students actively engage in their coursework, relationship, and experiences throughout their educational journey. So as you listen to me talk really fast, that is, about the Averett experience, be thinking about how you plan to engage when you get here. You'll see on a few of the slides that there's some quotes from students from the last session that we did like this, where we asked them at the end, what are you excited about coming to Averett for? And what excites you about college in general? So let's get started. The photo that you see here, this is called Main Hall. In the top 2 floors, we actually have students that live there. This is where quite a few of our new incoming students will live, is right here in Main Hall on the 3rd and 4th floor. The 1st and 2nd floors are offices for administration, as well as student support services. The registrar, AE Central, student financial services, just kind of a catch of things that happen there to support students. So a lot of things happen in this building. We go to the next slide, and I've got various pictures that take you around campus. I am currently coming to you live from the 4th floor of the Student Center, which is in the bottom left-hand corner there by the flowers. There are offices up here, residential life, student involvement, the Dean of Students, international services. And right below me is the dining hall. And below the dining hall is, or where students, there's a NPR where we host a lot of events. Last night was the Caribbean night that was hosted with the Caribbean Club, and our residential life staff hosted a splash bash to wrap up the semester because we started finals today. And then in the bottom, the very bottom level is a coffee shop. So I'm sure there's students down there right now cramming for their finals tomorrow and sipping some iced coffee. Also included on this slide, you'll see a picture of our fleet, part of our fleet out at the airport, the FBO. You'll see a game day photo. And in the bottom right-hand corner is a picture of one of our instructors, the horse that is teaching our students. So blue and gold runs through town and even over the state line here. All right, you can move to the next slide. I'm going to talk briefly about academics. I'm not going to get into our majors because your admissions representative can help you with that, or if you visited campus, you know a little bit about that. But I want to kind of touch on the variety of experiences, the diverse academic opportunities that you have here embedded within the majors and things. So first off, we have an honors program, which some of our students just choose that they want to kind of take a higher level of critical thinking and really maybe dig in on a topic of interest to them. Those students do about 20% of their coursework with honors credit, take a more in-depth look at something. They often do a research project of some kind or a capstone their senior year. They participate in the Honors Association and attend conferences, and they usually take some kind of trip. Last semester, during fall break, the honors students went to New Orleans and learned about the culture, the food, and had a great experience there. Sometimes they do a study abroad trip, but we also have study abroad, which I mentioned on here as well. We offer the general education curriculum to all of our students that come in. They take that. This is a variety of courses from math and English to the arts and sciences to humanities that we feel really prepare you, give students the skills and qualities that they need for life after Averett. It complements their major, but prepares them for other things as well. And then service learning is embedded in our curriculum. We have courses that give a little deeper look. This helps us kind of make the Danville community here a petri dish for studying. In service learning, students go out and they learn about an agency, and then they work on a project to support that agency to kind of make life better or improve a service for people in our community. It's really embedded deep in our culture. All of our first-year students will do some service learning in their 110 course. Okay, next slide. Got my timer going here. You heard it beep on me. We have lots of support and resources, right? Some of you may be thinking, oh, off to college, what am I going to do? Am I going to be able to succeed? We have lots of things. If you have been admitted here, we know you can succeed, and we have lined up the resources to help you do that. We have a personalized advising experience. Once you get here, you'll meet a faculty advisor within your major. We have student success coaches in our success center that kind of help you with time management, project management, a variety of things. I can hook you up with the tutors, the writing center, the math center. They're there to help. In that same area, we have disability support services. So if you had an IEP in high school, it works a little bit different in college, but we have staff there that help support that. And we have counseling and health services, because if you're going to be a successful student in and outside the classroom, you have to be physically and mentally fit. And we have those services here offered right on campus for our students. So lots of support. Next slide, Brad. We also have unlimited engagement opportunities. Hopefully we have a little something for everybody. And the great thing is, if we don't have it for you, you can create it here. The Caribbean Club that I mentioned earlier, that started this year with a group of students that wanted to do that themselves. We have lots of clubs and organizations. Some are related to majors. Some are just fun groups like the Caribbean Club or Sister for Sister that are just there to support each other and have fun. We have international and cultural programs. We celebrate Hispanic History Month. We celebrate Black History Month. We have international programs. A lot of fun for all of our students through those. Spiritual life programming, regular chapel services, volunteerism, and service learning, I already mentioned. We do leadership development, and there's lots of leadership positions on campus. We have resident assistants in our residence halls. You're going to meet orientation leaders when you come to campus, hopefully for ROAR this summer. And peer leaders and Bonner leaders, all opportunities for you to build your resume with leadership experiences. We also have intramurals and wellness programming. Our intramural programs are very popular. I sometimes think the gym is more packed for intramural basketball than it is for our basketball teams. And it's pretty packed for the basketball teams. But we have lots of fun activities and programs, campus activities board. We want to make sure that students are holistically enjoying the college experience, right? Okay, next slide. We are also a residential campus, and the majority of our students live here on campus. We have a variety of kinds of housing. We have community baths, we have apartments, we have suite style. We offer several different types of apartment styles as well. If you are a deposited student that has not yet taken care of your housing, the date that you want to write down and remember is May 15th. May 15th, the housing portal opens up again for you. You can get in there on May 15th, complete an application, and select your housing. At that time, if you're going, wait, what do I know about the housing portal? I can promise you, if you check your email, you have something from your admissions representative or admissions office that's come to you about the housing portal. If not, they will be pushing that out again. You'll just log in there, fill out the application. Don't let your parents do it for you, or your family, or your friends, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, or your friend. Fill that out yourself so that we get you matched up with a good roommate, or you can select a roommate in that portal as well. If you have questions about housing, you can drop those in the Q&A because our Director of Residential Life, Rodney Countryman, is on standby in the chat to answer those questions for you. All right, next slide, which I think is my last one. I would say they asked me to speak on why Averett, and I gave you all the details there, but my question to you would be, why not Averett after everything you've learned about it? Your next step, if you have deposited already, is to sign up for one of our summer ROAR events. And ROAR stands for Registration, Orientation, Advising, and Readiness. This is a one-day that you will come in, and if you have taken your placement test in advance, you will get a schedule. You will meet with other students interested in your major and faculty and learn about that. You will get oriented to campus and start to learn where things are and what's what. You will start to meet peers. Oh, I'm right on time. That's my timer. We'll start to meet peers and other student leaders, as well as staff. I'm at most of the ROAR events, and our staff is there as well. And that's what keeps us excited in the summertime, is when we start to meet the new students that are coming. Whew, that was a lot to drop on you. I'll be in the chat if you have questions.
Oh, I loved it. Dr. Mitchell, thank you so much. That was very informative and a lot of important information for the students and parents that are watching and listening today. So thank you so much. Next, please join me in welcoming Mr. Carl Bradsher, Averett's Director of Financial Aid. Mr. Bradsher has over 30 years of financial aid experience, and he can help us navigate financial aid aspects, especially with the recent changes that have occurred over the past year. So, Mr. Bradsher, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight we're gonna concentrate on the FAFSA, better FAFSA, better future. So there's been a huge change with the FAFSA this year, and we're gonna talk about those things tonight, and just to make sure that you're on the right track and you can complete the FAFSA within a timely manner. Next. Better FAFSA. The free application for federal student aid stands for the FAFSA, and it is a free application. And you want to make sure that you complete the FAFSA at studentaid.gov. So you really want to be careful. You don't want to pay for a service to complete the FAFSA because it is a free FAFSA. The FAFSA is used to apply for federal student aid, which include federal grants. Most common is Pell Grant, work study. We have students who work on campus, off campus, community service. So there's a great opportunity there for work study. Even if you're an athlete, we have athletes, we have students that are enrolled in aviations. You're going to find out you're going to have time to work and go to college also and play athletics. So we have students that are doing multiple things. You probably have more time than you think. But that is a great opportunity to work while you're going to school. And I mentioned free application. Make sure you log into studentaid.gov. There shouldn't be another site. If you don't see studentaid.gov, you probably want to log out and make sure you go into studentaid.gov. I mean, this is going to give you a large resource of financial aid, especially federal. Also, some of the state agencies may require you to complete the free application for federal student aid. There may be deadlines with different scholarships, and it's required for you to complete the free application for federal student aid. So make sure that you complete the FAFSA as soon as possible. Next. Better FAFSA. Well, what is a better FAFSA? Well, it's more simplified. I've been in the business 30 years and I've seen the FAFSA change. And this is probably one of the most major changes that I've seen since I've been in financial aid. As of last year, compared to 24-25, the FAFSA went from over 100 questions down to about 30 questions. So that's really a major, major change. And it's a lot faster to complete. Now, 15 minutes, I think that may be a little fast. I would recommend at least 30 to 45 minutes. Make sure that you sit down with your parents and try to complete the application the same time. Now, what I've seen in the last few weeks in reviewing FAFSAs are these few things: is the student may sign, the parent may not sign. And that's a delay in the FAFSA. That's why I think it's important for you to sit down and complete the FAFSA the first time. That should eliminate a lot of the issues, especially what I've seen in the last couple of weeks. And also, it unlocks billions of dollars. Okay, it's amazing how much money is out there, and students don't complete the FAFSA because they think, I'm not going to receive federal student aid. Well, federal student aid is a combination of different aid. Just because you may not qualify for grants doesn't mean that you're not going to qualify for student loan, and that's included in financial aid also. We should see over 7 million more expected to be eligible for Pell Grant, especially with all the changes that they made. So we should see a number of students qualifying for Pell Grant compared to last year. You should see close to 1 million students receiving more Pell Grant, 1.5 million full Pell Grant. Now, full Pell Grant, just so you know, for 24-25 is $7,395. Minimum Pell is $740. So you may qualify for Pell that's in between the max and the medium. Okay, so you want to take a look at that. So once we receive your FAFSA, we'll be able to determine if you qualify for federal student aid and qualify for Pell Grant. Like I said, all students have access to the maximum financial aid. That's not going to happen unless you complete the FAFSA. We talk about that all the time in our communications on the website. Complete the FAFSA. You're going to hear it from admissions when Matthew speaks next. We're pushing the FAFSA. There's a lot of money out there, and not only federal aid, but also institutional aid. There could be need-based aid. If you don't complete the FAFSA, we don't know if you're going to qualify. So if you haven't, we really need you to do that now. Next. So now is now. If you're looking at the timeline, if you haven't completed the FAFSA, we want you to go ahead and do that. Obviously, we passed March. We enter April. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, most of the colleges and universities are reviewing the FAFSAs and they're sending out notifications. We just started sending out notifications last night. So going forward, we're going to ramp that up. Okay, you're going to see more and more offers on the table going out to students. We've had a chance to review. Now it's time for us to go ahead and send those offers out. All right, so you want to make sure that you check your email. Okay, we're going to send it to your Averett email. Okay, to log into self-service. You should have credentials for self-service. And my advice would be to sit down with your parents and view the information in self-service. There could be documents that you need to complete, especially if you're interested in federal student aid and student loans. There are applications you must complete. Okay, we've made it very, very easy to accept, decline awards, and complete all the documents. There will be a checklist on self-service that will walk you through all the different steps that you need to complete the documents. If you have questions, our email is there, our phone number is there. You can always call admissions. You can email, call Averett Central. We're here to help you get through that process. So April and May will be a time that you'll be making a decision of what your intentions are. So we want to make sure that we get that out to you as soon as possible. But I can't express completing the FAFSA if you have not. Okay. It's normally going to take 3 to 5 days. Okay. So just make sure that you understand, if you complete it today, well, universities are not going to receive it until 2 or 3 days down the road. Then they'll start contacting you and notifying you what are your next steps. Next. This last slide is just a little checklist, okay? Some of the things here you may not need. So for the 24-25 FAFSA form, make sure you complete the online application. Yeah, there is a paper form available, but that's a longer process. You really want to use the online version. Studentaid.gov, you want to make sure that you have an account set up. So the student and at least one of the parents, I would recommend both parents to have access to the FAFSA, okay? Your 22 tax returns, if you use the IRS option, which is a consent that you have to consent to, you won't need to use your tax return. My advice is to use that. Only use the tax returns if for some reason that you're not eligible to use the IRS process, okay? That really speeds up the process, okay? Information about for your parents, because it is a little different. They made some changes to the FAFSA. Once the student completes, well, they have to email the parent and the parent logs in and they complete their section, okay? And once the parents complete their section, they're gonna submit the application normally last, okay? And the next steps would be, once it's processed, the student and the parent will receive an email that's saying that the FAFSA is processed and it's been sent to all the universities and colleges that you list on the FAFSA. And the untaxed income or any other tax returns, you may not need them if you use the data retrieval, okay? It says at the bottom, at least one school. You can list more than one, okay? Yeah, I want you to list Averett one, but you can also list other universities also. So you do have that option. And also you have that option, if you don't list Averett for some reason, you can go back and add Averett also, okay? As of last week, you can go in and make corrections. So if you completed the FAFSA and you was waiting to make corrections, they made that live last week, okay? So if it needs to be signed or the parent's information is missing or you need to make an update, you have that option now to go ahead and make those changes, okay? And that came available actually last week, okay? Those are my tips for tonight, okay? If you have any questions, just make sure you put them in the chat. Number one, check your email. That's how we communicate to you. If you haven't completed FAFSA, go ahead and do that. And if you need to complete any state applications, go ahead and do that also. If you have any questions, you can always call Averett Central. If you have any questions about the FAFSA, if something is not correct, studentaid.gov has a help center, okay? Log into the help center and you can call them and they can help you if you're having difficulties with your social security number or something's not calculating properly, okay? Thank you.
Excellent. Hey, thank you so much, Mr. Bradsher. That was great. Great insight and support from a financial aid perspective. We really appreciate it. For our audience, please feel free to continue to ask questions in the Q&A chat feature at the bottom of your screen. And now our next speaker, Mr. Matthew Mann. He's the Director of Admissions at Averett University. Matt brings a unique perspective in that he's both an alumnus and an employee at Averett University. He graduated as a student in 2008. So his firsthand experience allows him to connect with students and families in a unique and impactful way. Matt, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brad, and good evening, everyone. They have me pulling anchor tonight, so I think there's going to be quite a few questions after this session. So again, I have a counselor with me in the office answering questions, so feel free to throw anything else you have out there. But tonight, I'm going to go through basically 3 different types of students. We have lots of different students with us tonight, but students who've committed, students who've been accepted, and students that are still here just trying to learn some information. So we're going to have a little bit of messaging for all of you all. Next slide, please. So first group we're going to talk about tonight are going to be those students who've deposited. You have decided to make Averett your home next year, and you've submitted your enrollment deposit. So you're trying to figure out what to do next. I know a lot of you all have been calling the office trying to figure out what to do. Well, all of that stuff has launched this week. So this group of students, if you were deposited, you received an email yesterday with credentials into the deposited student information. As Vanita mentioned, we're going to go through all that stuff tonight. But part of that, the big step when it comes to depositing, what your next step should be is to register for ROAR. As Vanita mentioned, ROAR is where you come to campus over the summer and start preparing for the fall, building class schedules, meeting advisors, those types of things. While I'm talking, just so you all know, this QR code will take you directly to the ROAR registration. So if you're here in the moment going, I need to know how to register, you can do it right there. But why is it important to go ahead and register for ROAR? First and foremost, our very first ROAR date is already filled up. So for those who are trying to get in early, we appreciate you guys signing up so early, but the May date has been filled. So making sure you all don't miss out on those opportunities for the next events. There's one in June and one in July. So just kind of give you guys some ideas as to how things are shaping up. So definitely want to get on top of those things. When it comes to what to do before ROAR, now this is something that I need all deposit students to make sure you are listening. The biggest thing that you all need to be doing before ROAR is planning for your placement exams. Placement exams are what allow us to make sure we get you an accurate schedule. In that email you all received last night, you received information on how to access these. So want to just make sure that you all receive that. Again, if you have not, let us know in the admissions office because we can see if those emails have even been opened or who clicked on them, those types of things. So during ROAR, as I mentioned, you're going to build these class schedules, and after ROAR, what's to do after the fact? Well, after the fact, we want to make sure that you're completing your health forms, which you'll learn more about during those sessions, submitting final transcripts to make sure that we have those graduation dates on your transcripts. And then really at that point, we want you to enjoy the summer. We want you to get this stuff knocked out early so you can enjoy the rest of your summer, plan for August, plan for move-in, and start decorating that dorm room. During this time, deposit students, like I said, you're going to have some financial aid preparations that you have to do too. Myself, as well as the financial office, all of us are going to be here to help you all through that. And that's going to include just whatever missing paperwork you have to complete and things along those lines. I know I've already spent some time on placement exams. We're going to go right back to it though. But when it comes to housing, again, just to reiterate what Vanita mentioned, what Dr. Mitchell mentioned, May 15th is going to be the date. So I know a lot of you guys have started reaching out to the office going, hey, I got these credentials. I'm trying to get into housing. It's not working. No worries. That will open on May 15th. Again, May 15th is when that opens up for all students. If you have already done your housing, great. You were one of the early ones that got in early March. But again, it'll open up on the 15th. As I mentioned before, final transcripts are extremely important to this group of students. So as you are graduating high school or finishing up those college classes, make sure you're having those final transcripts submitted to us. Lastly, athletic forms. So I know some of you guys here are student athletes. You will be communicated to about what those forms are from coaches. From coaches and athletic training department, you'll receive some information from them about those. So again, I know some of you guys have already been on campus, but really want to reiterate the fact that we do communicate directly to the student. So moms and dads, guardians are on the call tonight. Make sure you're staying on top of your student and checking those emails because they do go directly to the student. Okay, Brad, will you give me the next slide, please? So I brought this one up because, again, I want you all to see what these credentials are being used for. So for those students who have been deposited, you all probably received a couple sets of credentials this week, but the credentials that you're all going to be using will outline in that email what they're for. So where are you going to access these placement exams? I got these credentials. How am I going to find them? They're all located in Canvas. A lot of you all may be familiar with Canvas already due to either high school classes or college coursework. This is where it'll be found. Feel free to screenshot this or whatnot, but this is where those will be found, and you'll go in there and access those. Below, you're going to see the QR code for the housing portal. Again, May 15th is your date there. Brad, next slide, please. So as we are preparing for ROAR, you're going to notice that most of the ROAR dates are in person because we want you on campus. I'll put this map up here so you all can kind of get an idea of where we are in relation to other places. Really within 100 to 200 miles, we can get really anywhere. So we really are stressing the importance of when you on campus for ROAR. If for some reason you live in California or international and you're looking for a virtual event, there are virtual options for you. Feel free to ask us for those. But again, we really want you in person. These in-person sessions are going to allow you to make sure, like you said, you're getting your questions answered. You're speaking face-to-face with people and making sure those class schedules are accurate. Next slide, please. So you've been accepted. What's next? So for that group of students who've been deposited, like I said, you all received a set of credentials last night on how to access those systems. You've been accepted to the university. You all received a set of credentials earlier in this week. Those credentials are how you access the financial aid portal. I know some of you all have logged into these systems and things along those lines on getting into those. We're gonna talk about that a little bit as well. But you've heard about ROAR. You're trying to get there. How do you get there? First thing first, we're kind of at the point in the year where students are making final decisions. And so if you're ready to make that decision, we encourage you to go ahead and submit your enrollment deposit. As you've been communicated to, you may have heard, we do offer what's called an early deposit award. So for those students who deposit between now and May 1st, you all are going to be receiving $750 per year, in addition to the things that you're already getting, like visit grants, merit awards, all those things that you found out about in your scholarship, in your acceptance packet. The national decision deadline. Most of you all know the national decision deadline is May 1st. Averett, because of the FAFSA challenges and changes, we decided to push that back to June 1st. So you have some more time to make those decisions. But really for us, we want you to be comfortable. So once you receive your financial aid packages, you've made those decisions, I encourage you to go ahead and get that deposit in as fast as possible. Because as I mentioned, ROAR is filling up pretty quickly. Simple, kind of already talked about it, but what does this unlock for you? Again, it's going to unlock access to all those Canvas shells, housing portals, ROAR registrations, all those things that you need to become a student here at Averett. So that's why it's so important that once you're ready to make that decision, you get that deposit in. Like I said, deposit is refundable up until June 1st. So if things don't work out, that's fine. But again, we really want to make sure that you are in a place where you're not missing out on the things that students are already doing. Now, the big thing I know everyone's talking about is financial aid awards. And you've probably received information from us earlier on about receiving estimates and stuff like that. We're beyond that point now. We are sending out financial aid packages. So if you're looking to get something from Averett, as Carl mentioned, adding Averett to the FAFSA is going to be those next steps. And so making sure you file that FAFSA, get that in, add Averett as one of the schools, and you will be receiving an award from Carl's team. Now, and for those who've been accessing the systems and trying to figure out where your awards are, just to reiterate the fact, Mr. Bratcher's team will actually send you all an official email when you've been packaged. And so when your package is ready to be viewed, they will send you email on being able to log in there and see those. Our next slide, please, Brad. All right. So again, another screenshot. For all of those students who have been accepted, you all received the credentials early in the week for these systems. These systems are going to be what you use to access financial aid. Just the reason I put this up here, Okta, as confusing as it might sound right now, Averett, we subscribe to a single sign-on service. So meaning you can log into one system and get into everything. Okta is where you'll go in and you'll set that up. You receive step-by-step instructions on how to get that. And then once you've set up, you'll be able to get into colleague self-service to see those financial aid packages. But again, great place to screenshot to make sure you have these as well. Next slide, please. All right. So you've gotten into the financial aid package. You've gotten through Okta, you've gotten through colleague, and you're in. The first thing you're going to see is this checklist. This checklist is going to show you what needs to be done, what's still missing, things along those lines, and these are going to be unique to every single family. So as you can see, for example, this student's on campus. It's going to talk about choosing housing plans to make sure your bills reflected for the dorm you chose. You can see this student's already completed all the required documents, but there's some steps that they're going to have to take. What I mean by that, as Carl mentioned, when you receive your financial aid package, you're obviously going to see your grants and scholarships and what we call quote unquote free money in the office. You're also going to see some options of student loans. And if you decide to use those, there are some steps you have to take. And these links will take you directly to entrance counseling, your promissory notes. But again, best way I can always tell families, if you have questions, call us and we will walk you through this. But I want you guys to see, you will see this checklist and it's going to be unique to you on what you need to do next. Next slide, please. All right. So I want to, just because things are so new for us and so new for you all, I want you all to see all this stuff step by step. So you've got to that next step and now you're here. This is a menu that you will see on the left-hand side of your screen. Where you're going to find that financial aid award, simple, my awards. You click on that, and it's going to take you to this next slide. So this is what you're all going to see. This is where you'll see awards that have been added in from Averett. Now, this student has not been fully packaged yet, but this is where you'll see your visit grant, academic enhancement, or for those students who attended scholarship day. This student received an early deposit award. This is where also you'll see your merit scholarship. So say you've been granted the presidential scholarship of $20,000, it'll be located here. Any other awards that you're receiving that are grants and scholarships will all be located on this screen. Now you're looking for other ways and other ways to pay for college. The next slide, Brad, will take us into some of those next steps. So this one came out a little fuzzy, but this is going to show you if this student qualified for work study. As Carl mentioned, work study is where you are given the opportunity to have a job on campus. So you can see that as an option. That's something you have to accept. And then these are going to be your loan options. So things like subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, Parent Plus loans. We can get really into the weeds on these, but if you have personal questions, feel free again just to call us. But simple thing I always tell families, subsidized loans don't accrue interest while you're in school. Unsubsidized do accrue interest while you're in school. And the parent loan is a loan that's in the parent name. None of these have to be taken out. They're just an option for you all to use. So want to kind of let you guys know when you get into those systems, what you should be seeing. If you're not seeing these screens, you're not in the right place or you can't get access, like I said, let us know. All right, Brad, next slide, please. All right, I did finally put this up as one holistic cheat sheet. This will be, if you've been holding out on taking those screenshots, now is the time to take it. So those top two are going to be sent to deposited students, Canvas and Housing Portal. Those bottom two credentials are going to be sent to all accepted students. So deposited and accepted students are going to be receiving these. The reason why, as I know some of you guys have been asking in the chat, the university has gone under some major IT system changes. So we have lots of new things and new portals for you guys to access. And so things are a little bit, may seem a little confusing, but again, just feel free to let us know how we can help. Reach out to us and we will again walk you all through this. But I want to leave this up for a quick second, just to make sure you have time to take a screenshot if this is something that you're looking for. All right, Brad, next slide, please. All right, so you have heard about depositing, you've heard about being accepted and all the things that come with merit scholarships, that come with coming to Roar, all those things, but you're at the point where you've applied to Averett and you're just going, all right, how do I not miss out on all those opportunities? How do I get those next steps going? So Averett, our application is super simple, as you guys have already, those who've already done it know. We make our application simple for a reason. We know you guys apply to lots of schools, so we don't necessarily want to require you to hunt down a letter of recommendation that you're going to ask your favorite teacher to write for you, or an essay that your English grades have already can already kind of tell us the type of writer you are. And so we want to make sure that we only require the bare bones. So we want to see a transcript. We want to see the type of student you are over the course of college, the course of high school, and that way we can get an idea of who you are as a student and how you fit here at Averett. And so literally a high school transcript or college transcripts are all we need in order to make a decision. We are completely test optional. So meaning if you've taken SAT, we'd love for you to send it in, but it is not required. It does not help, does not hurt. It's just something that may be useful for your advisor or for class scheduling, but it's not something that helps or hurts your admissions decisions. Now, merit scholarships. You heard me maybe mention those, but you're wondering, hey, what are these merit scholarships? Averett's very fortunate that we're able to give a scholarship to every single student that we offer admissions to the university. Those scholarships range everywhere from our presidential award down to our Discover Scholarship. And they range from $3,000 a year to $20,000 a year. And this is something that you've been told your whole life hard work pays off, but Averett puts a value to it. And so that's something that you're trying to unlock that award. What is it going to be? Submit those transcripts and you're going to see it. Plexuss has made it super easy for you all. This QR code right here will allow you to go right into a portal and upload your transcripts that if you have electronic copies of them. If you're already built a relationship with your admissions counselor, you can simply email them to us as well. But I do encourage you guys to submit the QR code because there's some perks that come with that. The last thing I'll mention when it comes to, look, you've applied to Averett, what should I be doing? Our biggest thing that we talk about all day, every day is visiting campus. We tell students that you would not buy a car without test driving it. You would not buy a house without walking through it. Why would you invest in a college education without walking through campus? And so next slide, Brad, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the importance of the college visit if you guys aren't already aware. Now, first thing first, you can see here from Ancora. Ancora is ACT, so they get some pretty good data. And as you can see, the number one reason families are still visiting campus is to see what campus is like, to see what it looks like. Trust me, every school, we spend a lot of money on really pretty brochures and websites and things along those lines. But coming to campus, seeing it with your eyes, and meeting people, you're going to get an idea of what culture is like. Not just what the buildings look like, not just what the dorms look like, but what is culture like on campus? Do I see myself fitting in here? Do I see myself being successful? Those are the questions that we encourage students to ask while they're on tour. Now, at this point in the year, most students are doing private visits, meaning they want to come to campus and they want to do a tour one-on-one with one of our admissions counselors and a student ambassador. We highly encourage you all to do that because those are private. You're able to have all the conversation you need to have. We can get into the weeds. We can walk you through a FAFSA, whatever it might be. That's how most students are visiting now. Now, some of you all probably have visited during athletic events, which is great. Coaches are a great resource, but we highly encourage you all to at least touch base with admissions to make sure you're getting all the academic side of it too. Now, after the campus visit, this is what I tell students, regardless of where you are in the decision-making process, after that campus visit is one of the most important times for you to start asking yourself some questions. Ask yourself, again, like I mentioned, is this somewhere I feel comfortable? I always tell my visitors that your body has a gut reaction for a reason. Trust it. If it's somewhere you feel comfortable, then you're gonna be a successful student. I'll give my quick story. I grew up going to a very large school here in Virginia for athletic events, and I knew that's where I wanted to go to college. I went there for my first tour of academic building, and within 5 minutes, I told my parents, it's time to leave. I don't want to be here. They're like, what do you mean? This is where you've always wanted to go to school. I got an idea what culture was like in the academic buildings, not just on the athletic fields. And so that's why I highly encourage families to make those visits because, again, you're going to really understand what culture is like on campus. Next slide, please, Brad. Okay, so say you've happened to get this call tonight and you haven't even applied. Again, I think I've explained why it's so easy and why this process is simple for you all. I don't want to necessarily go through all these slides, but the one thing I will mention here at the bottom is when it comes to decisions and deadlines. Lots of schools are going to have early decision deadlines and binding decision. Again, Averett's a school, we want you to be comfortable with your decision. We want this to be, we know most of you all, this is a family decision. And so we want the entire family to feel comfortable with this. So we're almost called rolling admissions, which allows us to make decisions every day for families, but also allows you to kind of take some time to make those decisions for yourself. As I mentioned, the big deadline for you all to listen to for this year is going to be June 1st. Again, June 1st, you can make a decision afterwards. We have plenty of students who do so, but your deposit is non-refundable after that date. And the reason why is deposits allow our systems to be set up for you all. And at that point in the summer, students are making serious decisions. So we just want to make sure that families are serious as they're making their decisions and commitments to Averett. So again, I want you guys to have this information. I know it's a lot of things have happened in a very few short days for all of you all. So feel free again, just to let us know how we can help and how we can continue answering questions as you all are getting emails about credentials and placement exams and all those things. Again, I know it's a lot, so we want to make sure you all are taken care of. So just feel free to let us know how we can help. So again, just to close out, when it comes to those summer Roar days that are left, June 28th and June 19th, these are in person. The May date, if you're registered for May 17th, we're already preparing for you to be here on campus. But if you need a virtual event day, let us know. There are some options there. I think I echo Dr. Mitchell and her entire staff, the dean of students. We want you on campus. We want to meet you. We want to look at you face to face, shake your hand, all those things. We would love for you to be on campus for these events.
Well, hey, thank you so much, Mr. Mann. That was great. We really appreciate it. At this point, we will go through Q&As. I will select a few questions and ask our esteemed panel of speakers to help with the answers. As we're asking questions, you'll see a poll show up on the screen. Please make sure to go through the poll and complete the poll answering all questions. So, and just as a reminder, it's necessary to complete the poll in order for you to qualify to receive a gift card. Now, before we go to the poll, I did want to highlight and summarize some scholarships that Mr. Mann had mentioned. As we go to the next two slides, we'll talk about some scholarships and grants as well. There are a list of scholarships that are available. One of the unique aspects about Averett University is most students graduate in 4 years. The average graduation rate nationally is 5 years or more. So the ability to graduate in 4 years goes a long way when it comes to your financial planning. Mr. Mann or Mr. Bradshaw, would you like to discuss any of these scholarships for students and families?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So as I mentioned in my presentation, the merit awards, this is where they are. This is what we as a university are excited and happy to be able to offer families that get admitted to the college. This is not considered financial aid. This is not part of FAFSA. This is not need-based money. This is literally, again, money that's based off of your high school GPA, honestly. We have to make it fair, so we calculate GPAs on a 4.0 calculator, and we want to make sure that hard work you've been putting forth in the classroom or over the last really four years or so in high school, we want to make sure that's paying off. So these are something that you receive every year. It's not a one-time award, and they can go up throughout the summer. So I know we're getting close to the end of the school year, but as some of you guys, maybe you pushed through senioritis and you finished out strong and your GPA went up, when you all send us those final transcripts, I mentioned another reason why they're so important, we're going to reevaluate these scholarships. Now, say your GPA went down, we're not going to take money away from you, but my job at Averett is to make sure I can get you as much scholarship money as possible as admitted to the college. And so when you guys submit those final transcripts, my staff will go through and make sure that we're offering you as much money as possible. Carl, do you have anything to add with that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's just something simple here. Once you receive an offer, just like what Matthew said, it's a combination of the merit scholarship and the state grant. If you've completed the FAFSA, then we're going to look at federal student aid also. So that would be in the offer. And if you had a visit or early deposit, or you came to scholarship day, or if you're bringing in some other local scholarships, we're going to go ahead and add those in if we know at that time. So the offer will include not only just institutional scholarships, but federal student aid once you complete the FAFSA.
Excellent. Hey, thank you so much. And so now,
I'll say, would you mind going back to that last slide real quick?
Absolutely.
I want to touch base on one thing real quick.
Sure.
So, as we talked about different awards, the Plexuss visits, the campus visit scholarship is something that Plexuss has been graciously enough to give us this year. So at the end of the year, we are gonna deem a student to receive this, but you have to have visited campus. So we go through all of our campus visit students, things along those lines. But if you've visited campus, obviously you still receive your visit grant through us. As Carl mentioned, here's some other awards, but the one thing I wanted to share is that very first when it comes to Averett University Assistance Grant. This is what Carl's team was mentioning, that we use the FAFSA to award extra help. So when it comes, that's as simple as that. And so you say, hey, we're not going to qualify for Pell Grant. We're only going to get student loans. I'm not going to do a FAFSA. This is why we encourage you to do one, because even though you may not qualify for Pell Grant, Carl's team may be able to qualify you for some additional money through Averett. And so I just wanted to plug that real quick, Brad.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks so much, Mr. White. We really appreciate it. So now let's go ahead and ask some of the questions that we've seen in the Q&A. And I'll go ahead and start with Dr. Mitchell. So I'm a freshman that is not very outgoing. So what would be the first student experience that I should jump into?
Well, first roar, because you can get your feet wet, right? You can get to know people in small groups. And then when you come for move-in day, we have some events that day, and then your family or your friends or support, whoever that is that brings you, leaves, and we have welcome week activities. So you'll get in small groups with your orientation group. All of our new students also take a 110 course that's like an intro to college, and that's a small group where you can kind of test your skills, get to know a few people at a time. But some of the we do one big event that students talk about. They'll tell us that's where they met their best friend for college, or they met their person in their major. We do some big play fair event where there's some team building things and a lot of high energy. So embracing welcome week would be my biggest advice, is take your cool hat off and just get to know people. And there's opportunities in small groups to do that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Mitchell. Mr. Bradsher, this one is for you. How long does FAFSA processing take for Averett?
Normally, 2 to 3 days. If we get a FAFSA in, just say we got some in Wednesday, we try to get that process as soon as possible. Normally, once we get in a normal routine, we'll start sending out, notifications every day. But as far as FAFSA processing, if you go online and complete a FAFSA, it normally takes about 3 days to be processed and get that information out to the university.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Bradsher. Appreciate that. Now, Mr. Mann, this one's for you. What are some of the most popular programs with good job placement?
So great question, Brad, because obviously we get this question all the time when it comes to students visiting campus. A student comes in undecided and they're like, what's got good, like you said, what's got good job placements, what has good pay, those types of things. So we walk them through some of the popular programs here at Averett. For those on the call that may not already know, one of our most popular programs on campus is aviation. We train commercial pilots here at Averett, is one of our unique programs. I will tell you that if you're undecided and you consider becoming a pilot, I would encourage you to think about it, because the job outlook, those types of things are very, very, very strong in the aviation industry. Our business students here are very successful. Our education department has had a 100% job placement rate, and our nursing program had a 100% pass rate on NCLEX. So those types of accolades translate into good job placement. We have a center here on campus that has a staff member devoted strictly to helping with internships and job placements as well. And so lots of different programs are going to lead you down that path, but it really is going to come down to how you approach your education too. So we want to make sure that the programs you're choosing, you're subsidizing those with, or excuse me, supplementing those with some great internship opportunities to make sure that you're learning real skills before you hit the job force as well.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you all for answering those questions. So in the next several slides, we've created pages with QR codes to scan. So we'll start with the transcript, which echoes what Mr. Mann had placed a couple of slides ago, but feel free to go ahead and scan here the transcript. Even if it's a picture of your transcript, please feel free to get one step closer to orientation. And then one step to orientation, please go ahead and scan here, and I'll leave it up for just a bit here to make a refundable deposit right here. And then the final step, make sure to sign up for ROAR. So just as a reminder, as far as those upcoming dates, June 28th, and July 19th. And last but not least, get in touch with our speakers. You know, if you have any questions whatsoever, these are this is the contact information for our speakers. You have their email addresses. You have their direct phone lines. So they're eager to talk to you. And again, any question that you have, please do not hesitate to reach out. So just as a reminder, we're going to stay on another 10 minutes after our session here, which is now completed, the workshop presentations. We'll stay on another 10 minutes to answer any additional questions and answers. But at this time, I did want to thank our attendees, our students, and our parents that are listening in. Thank you so much for taking the time out this evening. Also wanted to thank our esteemed panelists for spending the time providing such great information. Thank you so much, and go Cougars.